Focused and fearless. Here's everything you need to know this rush hour of July 2, Tuesday. I'm Riza Diaz. Let's jumpstart today's rush with several areas in Luzon suspending their classes due to the rainy weather. Classes in all levels in Bataan and Cavite are suspended today, as well as in the towns of Bulacan, Kalumpit, Hagonoy, and Paumbong in Bulacan, Subic, Zambales, Concepcion, Tarlac, and the towns of Apalit, Florida Blanca, Lubao, Masantol, and Santo Tomas in Pampanga. On the other hand, classes in Pasig are suspended today not because of the weather, but because of the city it's celebrating its 446th anniversary. Meanwhile, classes from preschool to high or senior high school are suspended in Capas, Tarlac, and the rest of Pampanga. Angeles City's earlier announcement only mentioned preschool to high school, but later on clarified that it also covers senior high. Selected schools in Valenzuela also declared suspension of classes today. That's in Pio Valenzuela Elementary School, Coloong Elementary School, Polo National High School, Dalandanan National High School, and Viente Reales National High School. And lastly, preschool and elementary classes in Manila and Baliwag, Bulacan are also suspended. Former tropical depression Egay may have completely dissipated, but we're not exactly expecting clear skies just yet. Because of the southwest monsoon, light to moderate rains are still expected to hit Metro Manila and nearby provinces. That includes Zambales, Bataan, Bulacan, Pampanga, and the Calabarzon region. Now, this advisory is valid until the next issuance at 8 o'clock this morning. And now to give us more updates, we have with us on the line Pag-asa weather forecaster Benny Estareja. Benny, good morning. Now that the low pressure area has dissipated, how is the weather looking like today?
Good morning, Riza, and to all our viewers. For now, we're still going to expect habagat or southwest monsoon over Luzon and Visayas. The most affected by habagat will be Pangasinan, Zambales, Bataan, Mindoro provinces, and Palawan. The rains will be light to moderate and occasionally heavy, and this may cause flash floods or landslides. Over the rest of Luzon, including Metro Manila as well as western Visayas, expect cloudy skies throughout the day and also scattered rains and thunderstorms that could also lead to flash floods or landslides. While for Mindanao and the rest of Visayas, partly cloudy to cloudy with isolated rain showers.
Benny, with the rain brought about by the habagat and tropical depression Egay, are we seeing further improvements in the dams, particularly in Angat, Ipo, and La Mesa?
We also have an observed increased amount of water level here in Angat as of 6 in the morning. So it reached 160.29 meters, which is 0.44 meter higher than yesterday's 159.85 meters.
Looking forward, are there any other weather disturbances affecting the country?
So after Egay, we're not expecting any new cloud clusters that may develop into a low-pressure area or tropical cyclone for the next 3 days.
All right, thank you very much. That is weather forecaster Benny Estareja from Pag-asa. The palace calls President Duterte and Chinese President Xi Jinping friendly fishing arrangement in the West Philippine Sea legally binding. That's despite the lack of a document to support it. Maricel Halili will tell us more.
Following the incident in Recto Bank last June 9, President Rodrigo Duterte revealed that he had an agreement with Chinese President Xi Jinping regarding fishing in the disputed area. Presidential spokesperson Salvador Panelo said the agreement was verbal and there was no document to support it. Panelo, however, said the deal is still legally binding and that President Xi has been true to his word in not stopping Filipino fishermen from fishing in the contested waters.
Bakit naman hindi? Ano namang masama doon?
To
serve and to protect the Filipino people. Under the Constitution, Article 2, Section 4, it says, the prime duty of a government is to protect and to serve the people. The President is doing that. Nakikita niya na kung ipupursu mo yung gusto mo aggressively, at sinabihan ka na nga, baka tayo magkaroon ng problema dyan, o di na-avoid niya na, dinadala niya na sa, di mag-usap tayo.
Panelo also announced that China is not in favor of a third-party investigator to look into the Recto Bank incident.
Hindi, nag-offer sila ng joint investigation, di ba? Tapos, inaccept ni Presidente. Tapos, may third party. Ang sabi naman nila, huwag na yung third party, kailangan tayo lang mag-usap doon. Oh, yan ang recent.
Panelo said they plan to compare the results of the investigation of both countries.
Yung joint investigation, ang feeling nila, kung meron tayong mga separate investigation, then let's meet. Kailangan mag-create ka ng task force sa'yo at sa amin, and then we exchange our findings. And then we decide kung anong gagawin na natin dito.
Should there be discrepancies, Malacanang said it will still call for a third party.
Siguro, ipipilit na natin, hindi tayo nagkakasundo, mag-third party tayo. Diba? Pero sa ngayon, since okay naman sa kanila, di ba sabi nila, there's nothing na hindi natin pagkakasunduan. Kasi, ang i-decide mo lang naman, aksidente ba o sinadya? Number one, sino ba ang may kasalanan? Number two, yung pag-iwan nila. O sino accountable doon? Anong compensation doon? Yun lang naman eh.
Amid all these, Malacanang said if it is proven that Chinese individuals have indeed abandoned the Filipino fishermen in Recto Bank, they will be held liable, and that a simple sorry will not be enough.
Napakadali lang naman ng issue eh. One, aksidente ba hindi? Number two, sino accountable? Kung hindi aksidente, di syempre, kung negligence ka, di ikaw. Number three, ba't mo iniwan? Sino ngayon, anong gagawin mo ngayon sa iniwan nyo? Hindi naman pa pwede yung basta mag-a-apologize lang kayo sa amin.
For News 5, Maricel Halili, we are One News.
However, if this fishing agreement can be confirmed, one of the framers of the Philippine Constitution says President Duterte may be impeached. In an interview with One News, the chief's lawyer Christian Munsod said the supposed agreement with China is a betrayal of public trust.
But if there is one, and it allows them to fish within the exclusive economic zone, that would be a violation of the second paragraph of Section 2 under Article 12. That would become a culpable violation of the Constitution or betrayal of public trust.
But last week, the chief executive has threatened to arrest anybody who would dare file an impeachment complaint against him. And the country's top cop said he is ready to obey the president's order.
Well, of course, kung talaga yung pang-utos ng presidente at may nakita naman tayong violation of the law, why not? So there should always be an investigation. Hindi mo naman pwedeng basta-basta kunin yung tao dahil tinuro tapos kunin mo. There will always be an investigation before you can make any arrest.
Private sector leaders and economic managers have started meeting to hear, share, and debate insights ahead of the President's State of the Nation address. Here's Bim Santos with the report.
Economic managers bannered the government's gains in achieving growth during the first leg of the pre-SONA conferences. At the same time, infrastructure officials also made a case to push through with needed reforms to sustain economic expansion.
At the halfway mark of the first term of the Duterte administration, the expectations have been met and the promises have been kept.
Under the theme Game-Changing Reforms for Sustainable Development, Dominguez said the second half of the administration will be spent to pursue further policy reforms and the modernization of the country's infrastructure. A major pillar in the reform agenda is the passage of the additional tax reform packages, which Dominguez said he is confident that Congress will pass.
I'm very confident that given the lessons in this last election, where no one who supported the tax reform lost, will resonate in the minds of the legislators.
The Bangko Sentral ng Pilipinas reiterated their outlook of manageable inflation over the medium term due to sound monetary policy. After a record high last year, inflation is expected to settle within the 2 to 4% target range this year, according to the BSP.
The big picture is very impressive. The Philippine economy remains resilient despite the challenging external backdrop, and over time, it is expected to continue to be sustainable.
For the next 3 years, Dominguez underscored 5 major areas they will cover for the economy, and that is to accelerate the infrastructure program, pursue the tax reform packages, pursue economic reforms to increase investments and jobs, improve implementation of existing reforms, and improve the productivity of the agriculture sector. In terms of key risks to growth, Dominguez cited two possible areas.
One of the big risks we have is this unresolved trade issues abroad, okay? And also, quite frankly, the threat of actually armed conflict.
PLDT Chair Manuel V. Pangilinan also credited the government's economic efforts.
It's good to hear. It's good for the public to hear and for the business sector to hear what the government is actually doing in fair detail. Yeah, impressive.
Bim Santos, we are One News.
Here are the biggest stories from the dailies. The Freeman reports that on the first day of her return to the capital, Cebu Governor Gwen Garcia promptly stopped work on the controversial 1.3 billion peso Capital Resource Center project. Garcia alleged that the project is anomalous. The center has been touted as the flagship project of her predecessor and now Vice Governor Hilario David III. Even while she was Congresswoman, Garcia already opposed the project, filing an injunction case in the court to stop its construction. The PNP denies that the administration's drug war is only fatal to civilians and suspected drug personalities. PNP Chief Oscar Albayalde tells Filipino Star Ngayon that no less than 50 uniformed men have been killed in encounters with drug suspects. He adds that over 100 policemen have also sustained injuries from such encounters since President Duterte assumed office in 2016. But this number is far from what PNP spokesman Bernard Banac earlier reported. Back in February, Banac said a total of 165 police officers have already been killed and about 580 have been wounded in the government's war on drugs. And this from Business World. The DPWH claims traffic along EDSA is expected to ease by the end of the year. That's because several road projects are set to be completed by 2019. And the DPWH says the road projects are expected to take out about 300,000 vehicles from EDSA each day. Let's take a look at today's top trends. Manila Mayor Isko Moreno lost his cool on Monday when the University of the East refused to suspend classes up to college level despite his orders. Based on the school's Facebook page, UE did follow Moreno's suspension but only after 1 p.m. 1 in 5 Filipinos tune in to Facebook for their daily news. That's according to the latest SWS survey, which shows that 13.9 million Filipinos use Facebook as their news source. That's higher compared to those who listen to the radio and read newspapers combined. However, television is still the leading news source for Filipinos with over 40 million viewers. And Toy Story 4 is still enjoying the view atop of the weekend box office for the second straight week. With around $230 million earned domestically, Toy Story 4 is already the fourth highest grossing film in 2019. It is only now behind Avengers Endgame, Captain Marvel, and Aladdin. That's on top of the bragging 98% rating from Rotten Tomatoes. But it is facing another marvelous threat to its success with Spider-Man Far From Home debuting this weekend. Here are the stories to watch out for later today. The Supreme Court will hold its oral arguments for the petition for a writ of kalikasan to protect the Scarborough Show. President Duterte will lead the Philippine Air Force anniversary celebration at the Villamor Air Base in Pasay. PSL All-Filipino Conference heads to Cadiz City. In the first serving, the skidding Santa Lucia Lady Realtors look to get back on track as they face Generika Ayala Lifesavers at 4:15 p.m. Then at 7, it will be a match between the pesky Signal HD Spikers going up against the undefeated F2 Logistics Cargo Movers. And that's how the day is shaping up to be. Join us again next time for another round of Rush. I'm Riza Diaz. We are One News.